Let me ask you something. Why do you waste your life chasing approval from people who don't even think about you when they close their eyes at night? Why do you care so much about fitting in when you were born to stand out? Are you living for their applause, or are you building the kind of person who doesn't need anyone's validation? Why do you keep running after people who don't even notice you? Why are you wasting your life waiting for someone else to clap for you when you haven't even clapped for yourself? You scroll, you watch, you compare, and then you feel like you're behind. But behind who? Behind what? Who decided their pace is your pace? You built your worth on their recognition, and that's why you keep feeling empty when nobody gives it to you. You see, the moment you compare, you lose. The moment you chase, you shrink. When you spend your life looking left and right, you forget to look straight ahead. You're chasing ghosts, illusions, people who don't even think about you when they go to bed. And every time you give your energy to their shadow, you starve the fire that was supposed to build your own damn house. You weren't put here to be a copy, you were put here to become the rawest version of yourself. You measure yourself against timelines that were never meant for you. Someone else got success at 25 and now you think you're late at 30. Someone else is leaner, richer, louder, and you feel like you don't belong. But here's the truth. You're not late, you're not behind, you're just distracted. You're chained to their scoreboard while ignoring the game you were built to play. And that's why you're exhausted, because chasing others is a race that never ends. Stop measuring your life with someone else's ruler. Stop comparing your chapter 1 with their chapter 20. You don't know the pain they hid, the sacrifices they made, the demons they fought. You see the surface, you see the finish line, but you don't see the war it took to get there. And instead of fighting your own war, you run from battle to battle trying to wear someone else's armor, not realizing it was never built to fit you. Every time you look outward for validation, you weaken your own foundation. You become fragile, dependent, easy to break. You think applause means progress. You think likes mean love. You think attention means worth. But the moment the crowd turns silent, you collapse. Because you never built the one voice that matters, the voice inside you that doesn't need anyone else to say you're enough. Building yourself is the only way out. That means setting your own standards. That means waking up and deciding your pace, your fight, your mission. It means walking into the mirror and declaring war on the weaker version of yourself, not the stranger on your feed. Because the stranger won't save you. The applause won't build you. Only your hands, your blood, your sweat, and your discipline can. Every single day people wake up and the first thing they do is check who's doing better than them. They open the phone and scroll through other people's victories but forget their own battle.
Haven't even started.
You're measuring your value by pictures and posts while your potential is sitting in silence waiting for you to move. When you compare, you steal from yourself. You take away the energy that was meant to build you and hand it to someone who doesn't even know your name. That's why you feel weak. That's why you feel stuck, because your eyes are on someone else's path instead of your own. Your race is getting slower while theirs looks faster because you're not even running anymore. You think the scoreboard is the truth. You think likes, money, muscles, cars, or status prove something, but all those numbers are just shadows of reality. They mean nothing when the lights go out. They mean nothing when the applause fades and you're left in a room with yourself realizing you've spent years chasing ghosts while ignoring the person staring back in the mirror. Every time you measure yourself against another person, you give them control over your story. You let them decide if today was a win or a loss. You let them dictate whether you're strong or weak, worthy or not. But they don't know your pain. They don't know your sacrifice. They don't know the hours you fought in silence. So what the hell do you keep giving them that power? You've got to understand their life is not yours. Their timeline is not yours. Their success doesn't mean your failure. You can't compare mountains because every mountain has a different climb, a different weather, a different storm. Stop expecting your climb to look like theirs. Stop crying that their peak came earlier. Your mountain is still standing and it's waiting for you to fight. Comparison kills growth. You stop trying harder when you see someone ahead. You slow down because you think you're already behind, but growth is not a race. It's not about who gets there first. It's about who keeps going when everyone else quits. It's about building something so strong inside you that the scoreboard outside becomes irrelevant. When you compare, you blind yourself to your own progress. You ignore the small wins, the quiet victories, the battles you've already overcome. You don't give yourself credit for the pain you pushed through because you're too busy staring at someone else's highlight reel. That's why you feel like nothing is enough, because you refuse to look at the evidence of your own strength. Stop giving yourself deadlines based on someone else's life. They graduated at 22, bought a house at 25, became rich at 30, and you think you're failing because you're not there yet. But you forget your story has a different clock. Some lessons need more pain. Some growth takes more time. You're not behind, you're just writing a different book. Every time you look sideways, you lose forward vision. Every time you chase their speed, you trip over your own steps. Focus on your lane, build your path, run your race. Because the truth is this, nobody cares who you beat. Nobody remembers who was faster. They remember who refused to quit, who built themselves no matter how long it took. Measuring yourself against others is like drinking poison and expecting to get stronger. It kills your confidence. It poisons your focus. It eats away at your ability to see your own worth. And the longer you drink it, the weaker you become. Until one day you wake up and realize you've been chasing a pearl so long. You don't even know who you are anymore. You don't need to be like them. You don't need to move like them. You don't need to win like them. You don't need to win like them. The only thing you need is to become more than you were yesterday. If you want to measure anything, measure the distance between who you are and who you were. Measure the strength you gain every time you don't quit. Measure the courage it takes to keep building. When nobody's watching, the truth is their success doesn't take anything. Their victory doesn't mean your loss. Their spotlight doesn't dim your fire unless you let it. The only way you lose is when you decide to chase instead of build. Stop clapping for them so loud that you forget to work on yourself. Start clapping for your own damn grind. Life isn't about outrunning them. Life is about outlasting who you were yesterday. Every single step forward, no matter how small, is a win. Every single rep in silence, every sacrifice, every moment you choose to push when nobody sees is proof that you're still in the fight. Stop letting their shine blind you. Your fire matters. It's waiting for oxygen. If you want to feel alive again, stop looking at their chapter and write your own. Stop counting their wins and start stacking yours. Stop scrolling through their life and start building yours. Because the second you stop measuring against others, you finally see the truth. You were never meant to be like them. You were meant to become the strongest version of yourself. And once you lock into that mindset, once you stop measuring against the outside world, you'll realize the only competition you ever had was the person in the mirror. That's the one who matters. That's the one you've got to beat every single day. That's the one who will carry you through the pain and the doubt and into the life you were born to build. Most people live by outside standards. They change their pace when the crowd cheers. They change their identity when someone claps or criticizes. That's why they break so easily. They're fragile because their foundation is built on the shaky ground of other people's opinions. One bad comment, one failure, and they collapse because they never built their own inner code. An inner standard is a contract with yourself. It's a promise that doesn't bend when life gets tough. It's a line drawn in the sand that no storm can erase. This standard is yours, not borrowed from society, not stolen from someone else. It's forged in your pain. It's carved in your struggle. It's built from the days you said, "I will not quit," no matter what. When you live by outside approval, you're like a house built on sand. The moment the tide comes in, it falls apart. But when you build an inner standard, you become unshakable. You become the storm itself. You don't need a crowd to validate you. You don't need a trophy to prove you're strong. You know inside that your worth is not for sale. An unbreakable standard means showing up every single day, even when nobody's watching. It means holding yourself accountable when the alarm clock rings, when your body screams to quit. When your mind begs for comfort, that's when your standard steps in. It whispers you, don't negotiate with weakness. You don't bow to excuses. You move anyway. Your standard can't be built in comfort. It's forged in the fire of suffering. It's created when you push past limits, when you stay disciplined through pain, when you choose growth over ease. That's the difference between those who last and those who fade. The world breaks those who lean on approval, but it can't touch the one who builds from within. People will come and go. Their opinions will rise and fall. One day they love you, the next they don't. But if your standard is built inside, none of that matters. The noise fades and you stay standing. The criticism burns, but it doesn't break you because your worth isn't attached to their words. It's attached to your discipline. You can't borrow this from anyone. You can't copy it from a book or a video. You've got to suffer for it. You've got to earn it through discipline. Day after day, every rep you don't want to do, every mile you don't want to run, every sacrifice you don't want to make is another brick in the wall of your inner standard, and that wall will protect you from breaking when storms come. Most people are puppets. The strings are pulled by society, by friends, by strangers on the internet. But when you build an inner standard, you cut the strings. You're no longer controlled. You're no longer weak, you're free. Free to stand alone, free to face pain, free to move forward, no matter who tries to pull you back. An unbreakable standard doesn't change with your feelings. You don't lower it when you're tired. You don't soften it when you're scared. You don't bend it when life gets hard. It stays firm when everything else is falling apart. It's the anchor that holds you steady in chaos. Without it, you're just drifting, waiting for the world to decide who you are. Think about it. When the lights go out, when the crowd is gone, when nobody is clapping, what's left? If your worth depends on the noise, you'll feel empty. But if your worth depends on your standard, you'll feel powerful, because you'll know that even in silence, even in failure, you didn't quit. You didn't fold, you lived by your code. Building this standard isn't about being perfect. It's about being relentless. It's about saying, I will not accept less from myself, no matter what. That doesn't mean you don't fall. It means when you do fall, you rise with discipline. You rise with grit. You rise with the standard that doesn't allow weakness to run your life. The world respects those who stand by their own code. People might not understand you. They might even hate you, but deep down, they'll respect the fact that you bend. You don't shift to please. You don't chase approval. You stand tall on your own foundation. That's power, and it's power nobody can take from you. Your standard is what defines you. When life tests you, it's what keeps you moving. When pain tries to stop you, it's what reminds you who you are. Doubt creeps in. Without it, you're nothing but a leaf blown by the wind. With it, you're a mountain that no storm can move. If you want freedom, stop building your life on other people's opinions. Build it on your own code. Build it on discipline. Build it on the promise that you will never quit no matter the pain. That's the only way to become unshakable. That's the only way to live with true strength. And when the world tries to break you, when life throws everything it has your way, you'll still be standing, because your foundation isn't theirs, it's yours. Your standard will hold you when nothing else can. And in that moment, you'll realize you've built something untouchable, unbreakable, unstoppable in yourself. Everybody wants to build themselves into something strong, but nobody wants to face the pain that actually does the building. Pain is the brick. Every moment you suffer, every time you hurt, every setback that crushes you is a brick waiting to be laid down. But most people throw those bricks away instead of stacking them into a fortress. Pain teaches you more than comfort ever will. Comfort makes you soft. Pain makes you sharp. Comfort keeps you asleep. Pain wakes you up. Comfort gives you excuses. Pain gives you clarity. That's why pain is necessary. Without it, you'll never build anything that lasts. It carves the cracks in you, but those cracks are where strength is poured in. Discipline is the cement, because pain alone is not enough. Pain comes to everyone, but not everyone uses it. Discipline decides whether you turn pain into power or pain into weakness. It's the daily choice to stack the bricks and not let them scatter. It's the habit of showing up when you'd rather quit, the act of holding steady when life shakes you. Every failure you face, every rejection, every heartbreak, every loss, those are bricks. You can either let them bury you, or you can pick them up and build with them. Discipline is what keeps you stacking when your arms feel heavy. Discipline is what says pick up the damn brick again and again until a wall is standing strong in front of you. Most people treat pain like an enemy. They run from it, they numb it, they try to hide from it. But pain is not your enemy, your teacher. It's your resource. It's the material that life gives you to build something great. Without pain, you stay fragile. Without pain, you stay shallow. Without pain, you stay untested. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're scared, if you're not motivated. Discipline is the voice that says do it anyway. It's the cement that locks the bricks of pain into something solid. When you combine both pain and discipline, you become unstoppable. You turn suffering into strength and struggle into structure. Think about the strongest buildings in the world. Not built overnight, they're built brick by brick with a foundation that never cracks. That's how you've got to treat your life. Every pain is a brick. Every repetition of discipline is cement. Layer after layer, you rise higher until nothing can knock you down. There will be days when pain feels heavy, when the bricks pile up so fast you can't carry them. That's where discipline saves you. It doesn't let you quit. It reminds you that every single brick matters, even the ones you hate, even the ones that break you. Because stacked together, they create a fortress that nothing can touch. Pain will come, whether you like it or not. Life doesn't ask permission to hurt you. It doesn't knock before breaking down your door. But discipline is your choice. Discipline is your weapon. Pain might knock you down, but discipline makes sure you rise again and turn that fall into another brick for the wall you're building. Most people waste their pain. They let it eat them alive. They let it turn into anger, bitterness, excuses. But you can choose differently. You can grab that pain, hold it in your hands, and stack it with discipline until it becomes a monument to your resilience. That's how warriors are made, not by avoiding pain, but by using it. When you embrace pain, you stop fearing it. When you apply discipline, you stop wasting it. You realize every scar is part of the structure. Every wound is part of the design. And when you look back years later, you'll see that the wall you built wasn't just strong. It was beautiful because it was made of every piece of pain you survived. This process is slow, it's brutal, it's relentless, but that's the point. You build greatness overnight. You build it with suffering repeated daily, with choices stacked on top of each other until you've created something indestructible. The bricks of pain never run out, and if your discipline is steady, neither will your growth. You're not supposed to enjoy the process, supposed to endure it. You're supposed to bleed for it, sweat for it, sacrifice for it, because the structure you're building is not temporary, it's permanent. It's your legacy, it's your foundation, and it will stand long after the applause and noise are gone. The people who run from pain remain weak. People who lack discipline remain broken. But the ones who take pain as bricks and bind them with discipline as cement rise into something nobody can tear down. They build themselves into warriors, leaders, examples of what is possible when you stop running and start building. So remember, this pain will find you. Discipline is your choice. Together they are the formula for strength. Together they create a version of you that can't be broken. Pain is the brick, discipline is the cement, and if you're willing to stack them daily, you'll build a life that nothing and no one can destroy. Approval is a drug. It feels good for a moment, but it fades fast. One cheer, one like, one compliment, and you're high. But when it's gone, you crash. That's why chasing approval keeps you weak. You're always hungry for more, always waiting for someone else to tell you that you matter. But growth doesn't fade, it lasts. When you chase approval, you're building on air. It looks solid until it disappears. When you chase growth, you're building on stone. It's slow, it's painful, but it's real. Approval can be taken. Somewhere with one opinion, growth can't be taken because it's part of you. It's the scars on your body, the strength in your soul, the lessons in your mind. People will clap for you one day and turn on you the next. If your worth depends on that applause, you'll break when they walk away. But if your worth depends on growth, you'll still rise because nobody can steal the work you put in. Nobody can take the miles you ran, the reps. You pushed the nights you sacrificed. Growth is permanent. Approval makes you chase speed. Growth makes you chase depth. Approval wants quick results. Growth wants lasting change. That's why people who live for approval burn out. They sprint, but never finish. They get the spotlight, but not the strength. But those who chase growth are in it for life. They keep building even when nobody notices. Growth means you're willing to be misunderstood. It means you're okay being alone. It means you're not looking for recognition, but for progress. And that's rare because most people are addicted to validation. They want to be seen before they want to be strong. They want to be praised before they want to be tested. But growth flips that mindset. Every day you have a choice. Do you chint to the quick hit of approval or the slow climb of growth? Approval will fill your ego, but growth will build your character. Approval feeds weakness. Growth feeds power. Approval dies when the crowd leaves. Growth stays alive, even in silence. That's the difference between fragile and unbreakable. When you chase growth, you start to love the grind. You start to find pride in the process, not just the outcome. You're no longer performing for them. You're performing for you, and that's the only audience that matters. The moment you stop caring about their reaction, you free yourself to focus on the only thing that lasts, becoming stronger. Growth doesn't happen in the spotlight. Growth happens in the shadows when nobody is watching. It's in the 5 a.m. workouts. It's in the long, lonely nights. It's in the sacrifices nobody posts online. That's why chasing approval is easy, but chasing growth is rare. One requires a crowd, the other requires courage. Chasing approval is about being liked. Chasing growth is about being respected, and not by them, by yourself. When you respect yourself, you don't need the world's validation. You know you put in the work. You know you faced the pain. You know you earned the right to hold your head high. That's the kind of respect that doesn't disappear. Approval dies in failure. Growth thrives in failure. When you fall in front of others, they stop clapping. When you fall in pursuit of growth, you keep learning. You use the failure as fuel. You take the lesson and build again. That's growth is undefeatable. It turns every loss into another step forward. Growth is uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good at first. That's why so many avoid it. But if you're chasing comfort, you'll never evolve. You'll stay the same fragile version of yourself. But if you chase growth, even when it hurts, you'll transform into someone who no longer fears pain, because pain became the road to your strength. Stop asking, am I good enough for them? Start asking, am I better than I was yesterday? That's the only approval you need. Your reflection should be your critic and your applause. Every time you improve, you win. Every time you grow, you're free. Approval can't give you freedom. Only growth can. When you chase approval, you're a prisoner. You're locked in a cage of opinions. But when you chase growth, you break free. You stop waiting for permission. You stop begging for recognition. You move with purpose. You fight with focus. You live for progress and nothing else. That's freedom. That's power. The world may never clap for you, but if you've grown, if you've become stronger, if you've built yourself, you've already won. Because approval fades, growth compounds. Approval is fragile, growth is forever. Stop chasing their hands. Start building your soul. That's how you become unstoppable. And when you finally lock into growth over approval, you'll notice something powerful. The claps don't matter anymore. The noise doesn't matter anymore. The spotlight doesn't matter anymore. Because you've become your own fuel. You've become your own fire. And nothing is stronger than a person who no longer needs the world to tell them they're enough. Most people can't stand being alone. They need noise, they need distraction, they need people around them, because silence exposes. Silence makes them face the truth about who they are and what they've been avoiding. That's why solitude is the most powerful test. If you can't stand with yourself, how can you ever stand strong in the world? In solitude, you hear the voices you've been running from, the doubts, the fears, insecurities. They rise up loud when nobody's around, and most people drown them out with crowds, with validation, with entertainment. But if you're brave enough to sit in that silence and listen, you'll realize those voices can be conquered, not by running, but by facing them head on. When you master solitude, you discover who you really are, without the influence of others, without the masks you wear to fit in. You're left with the raw version of yourself. And that's where true growth begins, because until you know yourself, you'll always depend on others to tell you who to be. In that weakness, crowds can make you feel strong, but they can also make you fake. You perform for them and you pretend for them. You chase approval instead of truth. But when you learn to be alone, you no longer need to perform. You no longer need to hide. You strip away the fake layers and stand in your own skin, fully exposed, fully real. That's where power is born. Solitude is uncomfortable, but it's the classroom of self-discovery. It teaches you to fight your inner battles. It forces you to look in the mirror and admit the truth. It doesn't let you run distractions. It demands you face the pain head on. And if you can do that alone, then you can face anything with or without a crowd. When you learn to stand alone, the world loses its grip on you. The opinions, the criticism, the noise no longer control you, because you've already been tested in silence. You've already built strength where nobody was watching. And once you have that, you'll never fear being abandoned or rejected again. You'll know you are enough. People who can't stand solitude are slaves to the crowd. They need constant validation. They need to be surrounded by people to feel worthy. But that worth is fake. It disappears the moment the crowd leaves, but the worth you build in solitude stays forever. It's yours unshakable because it was forged in silence. Solitude is where discipline is born. When nobody's watching, and you still show up when nobody's cheering, and you still push, that's proof you don't need validation. You've built self-respect, and that self-respect is more powerful than any cheer, any compliment, any spotlight, because it can't be taken away. You'll find that solitude sharpens you like a blade. It cuts away the weakness, the excuses, the lies you tell yourself, forces you to face the reality of your habits, your mindset, your choices. And once you've cut away the lies, you're left with the truth, and the truth will set you free. Free from the crowd, free from the need to chase. The strongest people you'll ever meet are not the loudest in the room. They're the ones who conquered themselves in silence. They've faced the darkness alone. They've wrestled with their own demons. They've built a foundation that no crowd can shake. That's what makes them unbreakable. They don't need anyone to hold them up. You can't truly connect with the world until you're connected with yourself first. If you don't master solitude, you'll always show up broken. You'll always show up needy. You'll always be looking for someone else to complete you. But if you've built yourself in silence, you show up whole. And when you're whole, you don't need the crowd. You add value. Solitude isn't punishment, it's version. It's where you sharpen your weapons. It's where you test your limits. It's where you strip away weakness. So when the world tests you, when the noise comes, when the battles rise, you'll be ready because you've already fought in silence and you've already run. There's a power in knowing you don't need anyone else to validate you, that even if the world turns its back, you'll still stand tall. That's what solitude gives you. It's freedom from the need for approval. It's strength that doesn't waver. It's confidence that doesn't crumble. It's the foundation for everything else you'll build. The truth is, if you can't handle being alone, you'll never handle being great, because greatness is lonely. The higher you rise, the fewer people can relate. The more you grow, the more solid you'll face. If you can't master it, you'll crumble under it. But if you embrace it, you'll thrive where others quit. So before you chase the crowd, chase yourself. Before you seek the noise, seek the silence. Before you beg for recognition, learn to respect yourself. Because once you've mastered solitude, the crowd becomes optional. Their cheers become extra. You'll already have everything you need within yourself, and that's the ultimate freedom. Most people live their lives like they're in competition with everyone else. They're obsessed with beating the next person, with looking better, with doing more. They think life is a scoreboard of who's ahead and who's behind, but that's a lie. The truth is, the only war that matters is the one against the weaker version of yourself. When you focus on them, you lose sight of you. You waste time chasing shadows while your own fire dies out. You measure your worth by their success and ignore the battles inside you that are waiting to be fought. That's why so many people stay stuck, because they're so busy fighting others. They never conquer themselves. The real enemy is not out there. It's not the critic, not the rival, not the stranger on your feed. The enemy inside is the voice telling you to quit. It's the comfort pulling you back. It's the fear whispering, you're not enough. That's the opponent that ruins more lives than any person outside of you ever could. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop wasting energy proving yourself to them. You stop trying to outrun people who aren't even thinking about you. You turn around and face the mirror. You face the laziness, the doubt, the excuses, and that's when the real war begins. That's where real growth starts. This war is daily. It's not fought once and over. It's fought every morning when the alarm rings, every night when you want to quit, every time life tempts you with comfort. And if you don't recognize it, you'll lose before you even step onto the battlefield. But when you do recognize it, you gain the power to win. The war with yourself is the hardest fight you'll ever face, because you can't escape. You can't run away from your own reflection. You can't hide from your own choices. You've got to confront them head on. And that's brutal, because it demands honesty. It demands that you admit your weaknesses without excuses. The people who grow the strongest are not the ones obsessed with proving others wrong. They're the ones obsessed with proving themselves right. They wake up every day determined to beat yesterday's version of them. They don't care about applause or critics. They care about being better, stronger, sharper than they were before. If you win against yourself, no outside enemy can break you, because once you've conquered your own fear, your own laziness, your own excuses, nothing outside has power over you. But you lose against yourself. It doesn't matter how many others you beat, you'll still feel empty, you'll still weak. This war isn't glamorous. It doesn't happen in front of cameras or crowds. It happens in silence, in sweat, in struggle, in the lonely moments when you either rise or fold. And nobody will see it, nobody will clap for it, but those private victories are the ones that make you unstoppable in public. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you win. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you win. Every time you choose growth over fear, you win. And those wins stack up day after day until you've built a version of yourself that can't be shaken. That's how you win the war inside. Stop blaming them. Stop chasing them. Stop fighting ghosts. The only person you need to defeat is the one you were yesterday. That's the true opponent. That's the true battle. And it never ends, because as long as you're alive, there's another version of you waiting to rise higher, stronger, tougher. You'll realize one day that the people you thought were rivals were never your competition at all. They were distractions. They were mirrors showing you what you needed to fight in yourself. Their success just proof of what's possible. But your fight, your path, your war is, and always has been, with you. This mindset changes everything. You stop being jealous. You stop being bitter. You stop chasing validation, because you know the only approval that matters is from yourself. You stop trying to win against them and start focusing on winning against the version of you that still wants to quit. The truth is, You are your greatest enemy, but also your greatest ally. If you face yourself with courage, if you fight yourself with discipline, if you push yourself with relentless effort, you'll win. You win against you. The world has no power to defeat you. That's the ultimate freedom. That's the ultimate strength. So remember this, the war is not with them. It's not with the world, it's with you. And every day you fight and win that war, you're building a version of yourself that nobody can stop, nobody can break, nobody can define but you. That's the only fight that matters. The fight within. You've been chasing others for too long. You've been living in their shadow, their pace, their approval. But that ends now. The entire message is simple. Stop looking outward and start building inward. Everything you need is already inside you, waiting to be unlocked. We talked about comparison and how it kills your growth. The moment you measure yourself against others, you lose. Because their journey is not yours, their timeline is not yours, their mountain is not yours. Your only job is to fight your war, not theirs. Build your path, run your race, and refuse to waste another second looking sideways. We talked about standards and how fragile people become without them. When you build your life on outside opinions, you collapse the moment they stop clapping. But when you create your own standard, when you live by your own code, you become unshakable. That standard becomes your anchor in chaos, your foundation in storms, your weapon in battle. We talked about pain and discipline, about how pain is the brick and discipline is the cement. Life is going to hurt no matter what, but you decide what to do with that hurt. You can let it bury you or you can stack it into a wall. Discipline is what binds it. Discipline is what transforms suffering into strength and struggle into structure. We talked about growth over approval. Approval is a drug, it fades fast, but growth lasts forever. Growth is permanent. Growth becomes part of who you are. The claps can fade, the spotlight can dim, but growth stays. Why you must chase growth, and never the noise, never the validation, never the temporary applause. We talked about solitude and how it's the ultimate test. If you can't stand alone, you'll never stand strong, because the world will leave you, the noise will fade, the crowd will walk away. And if you don't know how to be with yourself, you'll break. But if you master solitude, you'll carry a strength that nobody can take from you. We talked about the war within, because at the end of the day, the only fight that matters is the one against yourself. Not them, not the critics, not the doubters. It's you versus you. That's the war that decides everything. And if you win that battle every single day, the world can throw anything at you and you'll still rise. All of this connects into one truth. Stop chasing others. Stop giving your life away to their opinions, to their applause, to their standards. Start building yourself. Build your standard. Build your strength. Build your foundation. Build your freedom, because that's the only way to truly live. The crowd won't save you. The spotlight won't protect you. Approval won't last. But the discipline, the grit, the resilience you build inside will carry you through storms, will carry you through failure, will carry you through life. When everyone else is broken, that's the reward of building yourself. This is not easy. It's not supposed to be. Life will test you. Pain will find you. Silence will confront you. The mirror will challenge you. But that's where greatness is born. That's where unbreakable people are forged. Not in comfort, not in noise, not in validation, but in the relentless pursuit of growth. So stop asking, when will they notice? Stop asking, when will they clap? Stop asking, when will they respect me? Ask yourself one question. Am I stronger today than I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, you're winning. If the answer is no, then fight harder, because that's the only scoreboard that matters. When you finally stop chasing and start building, you'll feel a freedom most people will never know. You won't care who's ahead or behind. You won't care who doubts, supports. You'll free because you're not living for them. You're living for you, and that's the only life worth living. At the end of your life, nobody will remember who you beat. They'll remember who you became. They'll remember the strength you carried, the battles you fought, the resilience you showed. That's the legacy of building yourself, and that legacy can't be taken away by anyone. So stand tall, stop chasing, stop comparing, stop begging Start building, start rising, start fighting the only war that matters. The war within, and every day you win that war, you become a stronger version of yourself. That's how you become unstoppable. That's how you become free. This is your moment, the time to stop running from yourself and start running toward yourself. Stop chasing others, start building yourself, because in the end it's not them. It was never them, it was always you. And the only person who can decide how far you go, how strong you become, how unbreakable you live, is the person staring back in the mirror.